So certain tables will permit you to have both directions and single directions based on this. If I change it to many, and I say many to one, then I only get this option. So this is not an ideal criteria. I would rather go back to where it was, and I say okay, so this would go from here. So one to many, or many to one, and many to many. These are the three ways in which you will ideally filter and create relationships. If you want to view all your relationships, you have a box at the top on the ribbon which you can say manage relationship, which would show all the present relationships. Do you want to inactivate certain relationship? You can do so. This is used just in case you are working on certain things and the relationships which are inactive are shown with a dotted line. So this is all about relationships did we see today. Now let's have a look at rest of the things. Data and relationship. This is known as cardinality. When you see star 1, star and star together, what happens? The most common default type, which means a column in one table can have more than one instance of a value, and the other related table often knows the lookup table has only one instance of a value. So in many to one relationship, the table on the many side will have many instances of the value, whereas on the table on the right hand side, on the one side would have only unique value present over it. When it is one to one, that means you cannot have repetitive values for that column on both the sides of the table, and then it would be one to one table. Many to many relationship. With this composite model, you can establish many to many relationship between tables, which removes the requirements for creating unique values in the table. So why did they say sometimes you may not be able to create many to many relationship? In this scenario, you would have to create a central table taking unique values from both the tables. Then that table is referred from one to many and one to many for both the things. So this used to be a workaround for quite some time, and it is still prevailing in most of the cases. So either you do a many to many relationships, but if you feel it is too complicated and it is very difficult to handle, you are losing track, in that case you might go for a common table which would hold unique values, and that common table is in one to many relationship with the actual tables. So this is all about cardinality in the relationships. Moving on. Now what did cross-filter direction do? So when you set it to both, the most common and default direction means for filtering purposes, both tables are treated as if they are single table. Both works well with single table that has a number of lookup tables around it. An example is sales actuals table with a lookup table for a department. This often is a star schema. So in the database, you have star schema wherein one is in the center and all the spokes are form the lookups. If you have two or more tables that also lookup table with some in common, then you would want to use both settings. To continue the previous example, in this case, you have a budget sales table that records target budget for each department. It's more like target of sales, and the department table connected to both sales and the budget table. Avoid the both settings for this kind of configuration. So because sales is in the middle, everything should, in this scenario, the ideal way of doing it would be starting for every budgeted department. We would try to gather all the sales done for every department in one central visualization. Also, there is a single filtering choice in the connected table work on the table where values are being aggregated. So if the values are getting aggregated, that means they are unique in that relationship, then you can set as a single direction. Now, what is a composite model? If I have to tell you, A model that combines data from more than one direct query source or that combines direct query with import is a composite model. So in our case, we have different kinds of data. One is an Excel data, one is a SQL import data, and one is a direct query data. So we already have three different kinds of data with us. In this case, it would be a composite model for us. What is an advantage by doing a composite model? The most commonly used advantage for composite model is many-to-many relationship. Why does it help us? Again, many-to-many relationship help us eliminate a third table and go on with our usual business.